Welcome to Apocalypse Cinema, episode 14 with my brother John, world famous film historian. We are live on Facebook. I'll edit this later. Hopefully the audio is coming through. And we will start off. Character actors is what we're talking about today. From the past, the studio system, the Brits, and the modern era of character actors. Let's just start off there. I just wanted to note that I saw, is his name Jeffries, the guy that was in First Men in the Moon?
Oh yeah, Lionel Jeffries.
Right? Lionel Jeffries. Him, yeah. I just saw him in They Call Me Bwana, which is a ridiculous Bob Hope movie,
yeah, but
62.
I don't think I've ever seen that, but yeah. I bet it's really something.
It's ridiculous, yeah.
So he's got to play himself. Does he wear a pith helmet or anything?
He doesn't, but he is, yeah, right, exactly, because it's a Bwana, of course,
some colonial thing, yeah.
There's some natives, that are, it's obviously very un-PC version of the... I don't think they actually have a vat to boil anybody in, but it's close,
Yeah, right.
It's absurd. Lionel, there was some kind of capsule. So it was funny. I saw him on top of the space capsule. And I was like, there he is again.
Oh, you're kidding.
With the space capsule.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Because first in the moon, Men in the Moon, he's doing the anti-gravity paint.
Yeah.
And then in, what was the other one that was, I was thinking of? That he was in another like space oriented one too, which is crazy. Oh, that's right. He was in another kind of like moonshot one, the one where he's shot from a gun. They shoot the bullet basically to the first like the Méliès film.
Oh,
like they shoot a bullet.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was quite so.
I don't. So he was
closely associated with
the moon,
the moon travel.
Yeah, crazy, Lionel Jeffries. But we're getting ahead of ourselves a bit. But that's Lionel Jeffries.
But he's an example, right?
He's an example,
and of the type of guy. I'd say he falls in that category of that character actor that does pretty well one thing and does it real well.
Yeah.
And any casting, the person who casts movies or something says, "Okay, we need a Lionel Jeffries part for this," or something like that.
He would come to mind.
Done more things, but
and it's, I guess,
he's sort of that British, lifelong army colonel guy. I know he plays in First Man on the Moon. Is he like a scientist, befuddled scientist kind of guy, like ingenious, but a little pixelated kind of deal or something? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and
which isn't too different. Yeah,
right. So he's kind of a scientist, but he can be a cad. Oh, I just said I saw him in the Daughters of Dracula or something like that. Oh, what was it? The Revenge of Frankenstein. What am I talking about? Revenge of Frankenstein. Yeah, and he's in it for like 2 minutes before he has a heart attack and falls into.
What is he? Is he a scientist? What is he?
No, he's a grave robber.
Oh,
which is interesting. Yeah, he's a grave robber who gets some other guy to dig the grave of. There's a fresh grave. He doesn't know who's in it. And then they uncover it and they see Baron von Frankenstein. But it's not really Baron von Frankenstein. He fooled the executioner.
Oh.
So they killed the priest instead. It's like, wow. It's a long story.
Got his part and got his.
Because he had a heart attack when he saw Frankenstein.
I see.
Baron von Frankenstein.
Yes.
Or actually, Stein.
It
was Stein because he was incognito because he didn't want to be found out by the crazy torch wielding things. Yeah.
Right.
So here, make sure this is close to you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So let's start off with older ones. We're gonna show some pictures since we're on live, but for the older generation, who do I really like? I kind of like Arthur O'Connell.
Arthur O'Connell, I always really liked him.
We're showing him on screen there. Now, a lot of these guys, they don't have the face for a leading man, but they're very good actors. A lot of them start off in stage. He looked as countrified as apple pie, looking even more comfy in overalls.
Right. Yeah.
He was in Orson Welles' Mercury Theater. Interesting.
Yeah.
What I remember him in was the Seven Faces of Dr. Lowe with Tony Randall.
That's right. And he plays a little off character where he's definitely that countrified, like you're saying, but he's the villain.
Yeah.
That was uber villain,
Right. The railroad's coming through and he's going to profit off
of it. But he almost
it.
always played a sympathetic character.
That's true. More so. He was in
Anatomy of Murder.
He's
great in that. Yeah,
which is really great.
Remember that he's
some classics. William Holden and Picnic.
Poseidon
Adventure.
Right.
They brought out all the old stars and
right. But like you're saying, he's a good actor. It wouldn't surprise me that he may have even been nominated in Picnic because he had a kind of a bigger part.
Could have been, yeah.
And in that one, and he was
nominated for 2 Oscars.
So there you go. What
nominee for Anatomy of Murder and
Best
supporting in Picnic.
Right.
And he won a Golden Laurel for Anatomy of a Murder. So yeah, a great actor. So just in general, the character actor and what attracts people to the actor. They're memorable, but typically you don't remember their names. You remember names because you remember all names.
Sometimes
just because they got that
utterly random
iron trap of a brain.
But there are but it's the kind of thing that you have to kind of look for to find out their name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
they're not going to be top billing.
You could run a scroll of photographs, and you go, oh yeah. You could say yes to every single face, and probably name 1 out of 50 of them because it
exactly.
You just don't know.
But they added so much to the movie, you think you know them. It's like almost personally. They're typically characters that are vivid in their depiction of evil or good, typically pretty polarized. They're typically not just background, because otherwise, they're taking the part in the script that the leading man or the leading lady is not going to take. They're not the leading villain necessarily, but they're definitely on one side or the other. When I think of film noir and character actors, it's just rife with character actors.
Right. And they'll, push some part of a story along and, and they're, like you said, that they're completely memorable.
Yeah.
And yet you don't know their name.
Don't know their
name,
Right. It's either the crime boss's mall or,
Right. There's a wisecracking Dave. Right. Exactly. There's all those. There's a whole list of actresses. Every single category you come up with, there's a whole list of them. And you could probably name 1 out of all of them. Or sometimes
the comedic straight woman sidekick like Margaret Dumont.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So she's
Three Stooges and the Marx Brothers fame.
Woman that'll become be
the hoi
brought down.
Yes.
To size with either pie in the face.
Right.
Or something,
and not even, a lot of times not even aware that she's being made fun of because she's just, oh yes, that kind of thing. But she was just invaluable as that side character. It looks like any comedy team or whatever. You got the straight character.
Right. Because she was playing it up just enough from her side.
Yes.
That it brings everything to,
right.
It keeps the
right. She was in
the level up, so to speak.
She was in the is that If I Had a Million or the W.C. Fields movie as where he falls out of the sky and
is that the was that the sucker
Never Give a Sucker an Even Break.
Okay.
Yeah, and he does the Squidulum.
Oh yeah. Right, because
she's the mother of yeah. So she's great in that, of course. Marx Brothers films, she's brilliant.
Yeah.
And Groucho's always making fun of her, and it's like so great. Usually just passes right by. So I'm glad we brought up Margaret Dumont just because there are a great number of female character actresses too, not to just
Yeah,
the men.
right.
But I mean, with the supporting roles, it's good work if you can get it. How about the Munchkins?
Well, they'd make I think for the Munchkins it would fall into, there's one other category of the people who are
They're not extras
different,
necessarily, but they
who
actually
keep their career,
Oh,
get their career started and keep it going because
Yeah.
they'll stick out
yeah,
physically. Like the
True,
real
true.
tall guy. Like who's the guy from the 70s? Let's say he played Jaws.
Richard
and
Kyle.
Okay, exactly. And he was the Munsters guy, or the Addams Family, right? Wasn't he also the same
he might
guy?
have been Lurch in that. I'm not sure if he
forget,
does.
but
But right,
okay,
and then
they
there was
made their career on why they stick out. There's
and there was that guy with acromegaly, the bone condition and the giant jaw.
yes.
In the noir era, I've forgotten his name. Yeah.
I don't know if that's the Rondo Hatton guy or something.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
That's why you're here, John. Remember those names, keep me honest. But so that'll help.
There's and they list a whole bunch of things that it's just, they could act, all these people could perform. So it's not that, but it's the first thing that grabs you.
Right, of course.
I can think of that same actor who played Jaws being like some giant, like Yugoslav soldier in some World War II kind of thing. And you just see them, and they're just okay. Just stand there,
right?
Put a
7
Cossack
tall
hat on, and okay,
yeah.
If you act as well, that's fine. But
James Bond film. It was
but they have their part to play.
Yeah.
And they don't have the time to establish their character. You got to walk on, almost like being in a play. You got to walk on, and everyone in the audience has to know already, because we're not going to spend any exposition on who you are.
You're right.
We're just going to be
Jaws with the giant, teeth, stainless steel teeth, and
yeah, we got a pretty good idea right away with that.
Yeah,
as soon as he
he's
smiles,
a bad dude.
Yeah, I think we can
biting
figure
into someone's
that out.
neck.
Right, but let's say the accountant guy, or the Wally Cox walks on. What
the bow tie, the nerdy.
Yes, okay, so that's
in the pecking order. Yeah,
we don't have to waste any time explaining who you are, because you're walking on. I know who you are.
And it helped to have those kind of guys to offset or make even look handsomer the leading man.
Oh, sure.
Right? You'd have someone, sure. I mean, not that you could even compare to Cary Grant or something like that. So, just so great looking on screen. But, you could, anyone else on screen would pale in comparison.
Oh, yeah.
So it was easy to kind of develop a pecking order.
And it was the same
Clark Gable.
And the same for the ladies. And especially like in the 30s.
Yeah.
They would have their, like roommate would always be kind of the wisecracking. Yes, something like that. And they would have all the wisecracks, but they just weren't quite as glamorous.
Hepburn was the glamorous one.
Right. And in Clark Gable, there was a whole string of actors, who were more, rough, and they would have wisecrack, same thing.
Not necessarily the leading actor had the leading kind of, I don't know, they weren't always the top of the social food chain. In other words, It Happened One Night, right? That was Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert.
Right.
He was just kind of a loser, right? A lot of times that happens because really, typically, the prince or the rich guy, the rich good-looking guy, kind of was always a cad, and the secondary guy, Jimmy Stewart or whatever, would come along and marry the socialite.
Yeah.
Wasn't that right? Was that Philadelphia story?
The Philadelphia
guy lands
story.
in the gyrocopter and
that's in Happened One Night.
That's in Happened One. Oh, that's right.
That's
and he's the rich guy,
and
right? But he gets.
And when I was looking through the books and stuff, I recognized the character actor who plays her father.
Oh, okay.
And the guy who's the prince. You remember? He's total. He's like a nervous
Howard
Nelly
Hughes
guy, like twitchy. Exactly. Remember? And the one he's supposed to marry.
Yeah.
And he's in the book, and he played every time you see him, he's doing the same thing, and that's fine. Right.
There's always the rich dad kind of character,
and especially in like a studio system, you're cranking these movies out. You don't have time to waste.
True enough.
Build up you got to be able to grab somebody and have them in the studio.
Let's make it pop. We gotta go here, folks.
You know,
1,
and
2,
they know
3.
exactly what they're supposed to do, what's expected of them, and they just do it. And
Yeah.
it's a real craft, you know what I mean?
I know.
And,
Let's take a look at a couple others from this era here. Ed Begley, who's dad of
yeah, he's great.
Ed Begley Jr., right?
Again, a very good actor. And
of
I
course.
was reading a little bit about him. Yeah,
but right, he's not a looker.
No, that's for sure.
So
even when he was younger, he wasn't. And
he was only 69 when he died. Interesting. He did win an Oscar. Interesting enough. That was for Sweet Bird of Youth.
That
Best actor in a supporting role, which is interesting. I did not know. But yeah, 12 Angry Men, of course.
Yeah,
amazing.
Right. Yeah.
Sweet Bird of Youth. Oh, Hang 'em High, which is
wow, that must have been right near the end for him.
Right, yeah, because he died in like 69 or something. Patterns, but
no,
the thing is, when I look at the movies these people have been in, that I think, God, I don't remember him in that, but I remember him and seeing his face all over. Yeah, oh, the Dunwich Horror, the Dunwich Horror. Oh, that's right, he was in some Disney stuff, right? Mod Squad.
That I had forgotten.
My Three Sons. Oh yeah, okay. High Chaparral, TV. Hang 'em High.
Was he in
Hang 'em High? Okay.
Was he in what's the
$1 Billion Brain? Right. Okay. So he was a general in $1 Billion Brain. I remember that.
That makes sense.
Wild Wild West TV. Lucy Show. Bonanza. Yeah, he was kind of like a tough guy on Bonanza then.
Yeah, TV kept a lot of these careers
so
going,
true.
Actually,
yeah, I can see him.
You look, they like 20-year career at the end of their lives. A lot of these
right. The
from
60s was big time.
4,000.
Seamus Tobin.
That's when I was thinking of Unsinkable Molly Brown.
Oh yeah.
I knew he had something to do with that.
Yeah, very good. So Ed
I can think of a couple of times that I've seen. He's just fantastic, though. Very.
Oh yeah.
Very intense kind of actor.
Another favorite of mine, George Kennedy.
George Kennedy.
Which,
again, he won an Academy Award. I'm sure of it. I think he won
one Oscar.
I think he won it for Cool Hand Luke, I think.
That's correct.
Right?
The supporting role in Cool Hand Luke.
Yeah.
And then Airport, okay. And winner Golden Boot. Golden Boot, what's that? But really, yeah, Cool Hand Luke, he was pretty amazing in that.
Yeah, he really was.
His nice roles are not as good, although I guess, remember in The Dirty Dozen, I really liked his character in that. Remember he kind of gave Lee Marvin like a pass, kind of like he was playing a neutral in the war games against Robert
Ryan.
Right. It's the nastiest. Well, let's talk about Robert Ryan, because I love Robert
Actually,
Ryan.
Eventually, I guess he would have been considered it, but he had many years as a leading man guy.
God,
but
so great.
He's pretty phenomenal.
Oh my God, look at that face. It's incredible. That's Robert Ryan.
Right. It's funny. I guess.
I think earlier, again, a lot of what happened is these guys were, chiseled faces. And then later in their careers, they became more grizzled. Their faces looked meaner, and he turned into more angry roles. I mean, The Godfather, he plays that nasty cop. He's a real, like a dirty cop.
Oh, really?
Right. Am I getting him wrong or what? Let's see. The Wild Bunch was unbelievable.
Yeah.
The Iceman Cometh, Dirty Dozen, where he plays a real nasty.
Well, Robert Ryan but he was kind of 50% bad guy, 50% good guy when he was younger. So
exactly.
He's one of those guys, who wasn't recreating himself in that sense when he's getting older, because he could play the edgy, not exactly a Tony Perkins kind of thing, but sort of. There's a couple of parts, I think, when he was younger where he was like that, where he was like, what is this guy going to do next? You can't.
Yeah, I just saw him in a great noir movie, which, let's see, was it 45 or 50? Longest Day. Of course, everyone was in The Longest Day. He was a real a real nasty cop.
Oh, wait, this is with a great movie. Is this the one with Ida Lupino near the end at the with Ed Begley actually?
Oh, wow.
What's it called?
There's another great character actor who plays a nerdy kind of doctor guy. Boy, escaped him. No, Bad Day. BlackRock. Oh, nice. Naked Spur.
On Dangerous Ground. Is that the one you were thinking of?
No.
Or no? Oh, okay.
Well, wait a minute.
He's like he's a little bit of a Dirty Harry cop. One of my favorite movies, actually, that one. And Ed Begley has a small part, but he's very good in it. That's and speaking of character actors, Ward Bond has a great part in that. You know Ward Bond from kind of like Frank Capra movies. He plays and he did made a lot of John Ford movies, Ward Bond, but you recognize him.
Yes. Gruff and burly.
He has a great,
and of course, Robert Ryan was in Dr. Strangelove, right?
I think
who am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Sterling Hayden.
Ah, you're right.
And he's the one that was in the Godfather Part 2. In the restaurant at the shooting, right? Where they're eating spaghetti or whatever.
Oh my God.
Sterling Hayden with that voice.
That's right. He almost sounds like he's always got a cigar in his mouth. But
yes.
He's kind of a Robert Ryan kind of.
He is physically there.
Yeah.
Nearly identical.
A cigar chomping guy.
Always talks like this.
That's right.
Guys, we got it. And
after Dr. Strangelove, The Killing, which is one of the greatest.
Yeah.
So he's in two. The guy is in two of the greatest.
Isn't that
three
funny?
of the greatest films.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty funny.
Two Kubricks and a Coppola. I mean,
yeah.
And
that's pretty.
I talk about a character actor.
Yeah.
Talk about a bravado. Bravado performances in all of those. Wow. Hold him up. And then when he's he breaks his jaw in Godfather. He's just such a corrupt cop. It's
right.
Nasty.
Oh man.
Hold him up. Hold him tight.
Right.
Ow.
Yeah.
And then of course his amazing spiel in Dr. Strangelove about the precious bodily fluids.
Mandrake.
Mandrake. Yes, exactly.
Oh boy, that is
so that interplay between him and Sellers is genius.
It really is. It
and he's really the focus of the entire movie.
Right.
I mean, he created
he is the protagonist of that movie.
They
call it Dr. Strangelove, but it should be called whatever his name is. Wait, Jack D. Ripper, right? He's Jack D. Ripper, right? Yeah,
Jack D. Ripper.
Right.
That is a great comedy.
Now,
the horror of the comedy, the horror of global thermonuclear war and a black comedy, really genius.
We could spread out.
Yeah.
There's two ways that I want to go because I see character actors. There's another kind of level, which might be almost the top level, which is people who do get lead parts, but you only think of them as characters. You don't think of them. So a Cary Grant is always a Cary Grant, but then there's people like, I was thinking Peter Sellers.
Well, right.
Who are always like Rod Steiger, who are like these, that are totally immersed. So you don't even think of them as a personality. Like you think of it because in a way they're always playing a character. They're almost like leading character actors. And there is that little small bit of people that will get the top of they'll be the name at the top of the marquee, but they're almost like a character.
Because they're playing such broad,
such a particular type. It's so completely
Sellers
from
with
them.
Pink Panther.
But
he's not really a leading man. I mean, he kind of ends up, but he's a buffoon.
He did have a couple there, but you're right. I mean,
he's a buffoon.
But I mean, he has three parts in Dr. Strangelove.
Exactly.
It's almost like the other guy that would be like that people think of would be Alec Guinness, always, some costume makeup or absorbed into something. And
so was Alec Guinness a character actor too?
Right. Is he?
Man in the white suit?
He's such a peculiar guy.
Exactly.
I remember the character that he plays, even when he's the leading part, is almost like another character in the movie,
True.
And, but when you're looking at The Killing, this is one,
I love
and
almost
the opposite end.
Such a great
character
heist
actor.
movie.
the name.
Oh,
this is the name.
I mean, it's all character actors, that movie, right?
So here's a name.
Yeah,
Tell me if you know a lot of million names.
Yeah.
Timothy Carey. Do you know who that
Timothy
is?
Carey. I can't.
If you see him immediately, you like howl, but the name is totally nondescript.
Interesting.
So look up. I think that's it. I believe it's. I think it's his name. It doesn't fit his looks, or I think it's CA, like almost like Harry Carey.
Timothy Carey. There he is.
Okay.
Because I can see, I can picture someone else.
Okay, you know.
Oh wow!
Immediately know.
Wow, look at that face.
About. He was the psycho killer.
Yeah, yeah.
Killing. He had like he was a sniper, I think, or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he was also in wherever he appears, he looks just like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And you read about him, he's like a real eccentric, like a true eccentric person, and reveled in that. And but he's the kind of guy. He shows up in a movie, and almost
Elisha Cook. There we go.
There.
That's what I was thinking of. I mean, wow, right?
Yes.
Elisha Cook,
the
Jr.
classic character actor. From when he was young till he died, he was always that same guy who, kind of resentful that he's only 5'5",
right? Right,
and never quite grew up. His features are sort of like half teenager, half middle-aged guy.
So a cowardly character worked for him very well.
Yeah, and made it work. I mean, completely convincing.
But he was in a ton of stuff. Rosemary's Baby. Oh my God. Oh, that's Big Sleep, Maltese Falcon. I mean, that's some big.
And the kind of guys stuff that you just, you almost makes you settle in and feel just a little more comfortable watching a movie. Like, okay, well, this guy.
Magnum PI. There you go. Alpha. TV, of course.
Goes forever.
TV.
And he was in movies.
But then you go, because he lived in 91.
Falcon,
He was in Maltese Falcon, right? So going back, you see all the noir, Sergeant York, Tin Pan Alley, lots of noir he was in.
Yeah,
he's one of those.
It's just one of those
noir faces that you definitely would see him in a lot of. Accused of Murder, all that stuff. Great
Although
stuff.
he would be one who never quite broke out of that. Somebody who would would be those sort of narrowly defined, like, okay, I do my thing and people know what I do and they're happy with it. I'm okay doing it. Let's, they're not going to get a leading part. Sidney Greenstreet would be the same thing. He did the same thing all the time.
He was
he was completely effective. He created this incredible character.
Oh yeah.
That nobody wanted to be you don't want him to be any different than he is in the movie we saw him before. You want him to do the same thing because it's such a compelling character.
Yeah, and he was a major character in the noir era. Maltese Falcon, Casablanca, Across the Pacific. I mean, my God.
Yeah, time
and huge parts of huge characters in those.
In every sense.
Yeah.
He would dominate the screen.
Oh a big
and never really raising his voice. He had that
that's
soft
true.
voice, but with menace and scheming in it, and so he could hold these people could hold their own against anybody else on screen. And that. Like you were saying, like Margaret Dumont and Groucho Marx. Okay, they weren't just standing there reacting or.
Well, she was physically bigger than Groucho, which was funny.
Right, and that was
she
part
was
of
a big
it.
woman. And then Lee J. Cobb were kind of. I mean, he's kind of a youngster. 1911,
Compared to those,
he only died at 64. Okay, but he did, make it into the modern era. But as you can see,
that must have been one of those last
another 12 Angry Men, which is also made up of all character actors, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Except for Henry Fonda. But The Exorcist, On the Waterfront, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Of course, Carl Malden would be another character actor from On the Waterfront.
Yeah.
And the character of Carl Malden is just
right, because
I mean, that
you're going from
nose.
The heroic. Yeah, there's a physical thing that everybody holds on to. Right, is the nose. Carl Malden, the nose. If you just showed a picture of his nose, people would. They may not even know his name, but they
bulbous nose.
And again, going back and forth, we've seen him plenty of times being a total villain. And
Yella.
Yeah.
Nevada Smith.
In this One-Eyed Jacks, he's like a psycho, man. And then, but in
the Warden,
but you mentioned On the Waterfront.
Yeah, right.
In the Bird, right?
Burt Alcatraz, Birdman of Alcatraz.
About that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So he's not really a villain on that, but he's
isn't he? Isn't he?
Well, he's kind of nasty to him, but he's I don't know. Yeah, but we were saying On the Waterfront.
But he's
what a pivotal role,
right? And he's the heroic, priest organizing the. And then the picture they shows is from, I never really watched the show, but Streets of San Francisco. He's obviously the level-headed, experienced cop to the young
guy. Anthony Perkins was a baseball player. His dad is mean dad, right?
Fear Strikes
Out. Oh my God.
Oh, okay.
He was nasty in that.
See, he could,
He just had that tough tone,
Right.
He's born in Chicago. He was he? Yeah.
Oh,
so Chicago. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we worked in the steel mills.
And they
tough.
Well, yeah. Look at
real
his face.
character.
He looked like he spent a long time in steel mills before he ever got one of those people that, how did they quite break in?
Streetcar Named Desire. Come on. Patton, of course. He played Omar Bradley.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But he holds his own. Like when you have a general, it's like you got to have the weight of character to pull that off. And
right.
He was not a commanding general, but he was a strategic general, and he pulled that off brilliantly, I thought.
Yeah.
So another amazing character.
Well, I'm now since you often on this program talk about, we don't want to completely miss this. You talk about horror, sci-fi type movies.
Right on.
Go into like character, because every genre has their.
Well, I was going to go into the Brits, which is a lot of horror action.
Okay, that's true.
Hammer.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's go.
Okay, then
let's go into the Brits.
Go Brits and
because
go Brits.
Go Brits. Yeah. Of course, we can go way back, but I just want to keep it more contemporary for now. But of course, you have Cushing and Lee, which are the Hammer horror staples. You have, I guess you could subgroup them, right? The Hammer horror guys. And then you have like the Shakespearean actors, Richardson, Gielgud. I'm sure Basil Rathbone.
Yeah.
And then.
Right. Didn't Basil Rathbone end up in some of those Roger Corman type things?
He did.
His career.
He did. Yes. He was most famous for his Sherlock Holmes.
Of course. So when he was young, even though he got the lead in the Sherlock Holmes, again, he's still sort of a character. He's not really Basil Rathbone, but he would get that leading villain part in the old, like Robin Hood, and those kind of movies over and over and over again. I think he really could fence. That was one of the reasons he was actually quite a.
And what I love about Cushing and Christopher Lee, they're just gigantic careers.
Yeah.
I mean, just crazy, like 70 years in the business. And Christopher Lee was what? He was almost 100 years old.
Like
what? They made it into the modern era. Like Cushing was in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And so was Lee. It was in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So both of those guys made it into Star Wars in the villain,
they managed to
make, and Hammer, they're basically, you could be Hammer horror characters, Count Dooku,
and which George Lucas probably grew up on when he was little.
Exactly.
And they're reusing
instead of a sword.
I remember this guy when I was a kid. I really want him in my movie now that
I'm glad they put him in there, because they're done well. And of course, Alec Guinness, of course, in the Star Wars films. But there's some kind of Nazi thing there. But The Curse of Frankenstein, I mean, so it's funny because, some of these films are kind of schlocky, but what a great character actor he is.
Right. One of the fun things of watching a character actor, even if they're in a somewhat schlocky kind of thing, like you say, is the thing that you really appreciate is when they really just give it all, even in this little part in either a Roger Corman movie or I was watching something the other day. I just saw a couple of minutes. I don't even remember this one, but the Jack the Giant Killer.
Oh yeah.
And the actor, his name is I think Torrin Thatcher, a British guy, but he plays like the wizard sorcerer guy, and he was the exact same part in the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. If you saw a picture of him, you know immediately. But he was completely dedicated to this simple, to this silly kind of movie. But I got this part as a sorcerer who has this very menacing, diabolical side, and I'm gonna go all out on it, you know, which is great.
Exactly,
that's what you want. And so what? You're looking at the Earth's core right now.
I love
Peter Cushing
the Earth's core.
Just totally says, "I'm going for it, and I'm going to give you this great, almost like a Lionel Jeffries part of the eccentric scientist."
And Carolyn Monroe, va 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 boom. All and there is, I don't know what's going on with this being so weird about
they're cropping
zooming.
It out. Yeah.
But anyway, he was just a great bumbling professor in that.
He really was, and
so great.
And it was if you had seen him in all those other movies where he's super serious, it was real refreshing. When I remember when when that movie came out, when I was or 14 or something, and it was so much fun to see him having fun on screen instead of being the ultra rational vampire hunter or super science man Frankenstein. You know what I mean? To see him just having fun with this thing was a great relief.
And he is such a great part of that. If it was just Doug McClure, it wouldn't have had the
same. No, nothing against it.
Sorry, Dougie.
Exactly, but you just surround him, and that's where the character acts right. The lead, it doesn't have to be super magnetic. It just maybe a good-looking guy, and then now let's get a real actor be with him, and then
And then of course Christopher Lee, the god of character actors. I mean, just amazing. Mm-hmm. Huge career. He was 93, and he was working all the way to the end. I think he put out like a death metal album or something like that when he was 92.
Oh wow!
I mean, wow. Really so of course Dracula, the penultimate Hammer Dracula. You can't beat that. And
well,
of course Star Wars
and the
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings as Saruman, huge, right.
Huge movies, and some of the biggest movies ever.
Exactly.
So and the characters are very important. Hobbit, of course, Dark Shadows, Season of the Witch.
Couldn't get away.
Got to go back finally a little further. Charlie and Chocolate Factory was kind of fun. Let's go back a little further. Tales of the Mummy, right? The Mummy. Wasn't he the Mummy?
That I don't know.
But let's go back to before the TV era. Dark Mission. Shaka Zulu. Oh yeah.
There we go.
Oh, and of course he was a Bond villain too. My God, he was everywhere.
The Golden Gun.
Right, exactly, with Tattoo.
Oh, okay.
Right, wasn't he in?
Probably.
Yeah. Eye for an Eye, Tales of the Haunted, Charlie's Angels. So he was working.
Right. These people that just I want to keep working.
But Meat Cleaver Massacre, Airport 77.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
To the Devil a Daughter. Nice. But when you see the Satanic Rites of Dracula, I mean, poor devil, creeping flesh. Raw meat. Like
Horror Express, I remember that. Yeah. Didn't he play, as I remember, he was super intense, and I couldn't tell you what the name of the movie is. But he played Rasputin, I think.
Oh, really? That
when he was pretty young, I would say the 60s.
Yeah.
Maybe even early 60s. And I don't remember but he was really where he heals somebody. And it's like really real intense.
And so you see all these, kind of like a Vincent Price, who was known for horror.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But in real life, Vincent Price and Christopher Lee were like the ultimate gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It is funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is
So
kind
it's
of a funny thing.
Yeah.
And, those people like that, and
super great and
uh-huh.
very
refined,
humble and refined. So it is funny.
So
but
refined.
What works for
yes,
you?
and and they would bring that, even if it wasn't, they would bring that to their parts. You know, in a sense, you know, it was Dracula. There.
So now I want to jump Christopher Lee into the Hammer guys, but then Freddie Jones. John and I just laugh when we think of Freddie Jones, and what is it about him that just makes us laugh? Just because of he's such a character that it's almost absurd.
It's one of those things you can't quite put into words, but it's
Mother one.
It was, you know what? I think it's
like very memorable lines.
Another
that he
guy,
does.
Another guy I was thinking of, and in a way, I have almost the same reaction to they have a certain intensity and a real peculiarity is Klaus Kinski.
Oh, well,
I don't know if you have the same reaction, but
no, I don't laugh when I think of him.
A little bit. I kind of do. You know what?
It's kind of absurd.
Is that he is absurd, and now Freddie Jones is a more serious person, and
I know. Look how serious. Those
look
eyebrows.
Look at that. I mean, that he went along with that.
But he played it.
Yeah,
he played it
right,
straight.
Exactly.
A genius.
I'm going with it. Whatever you got in your mind, David Lynch,
He did it.
I'm gonna give it to you. Yeah.
Oh, and so great.
But
Dune, brilliant.
And you can't. Right, you can't.
So genius, and of course the Elephant Man. He was owned the Elephant Man, basically.
Right, but we were talking a little bit before. You mentioned the mother one. Is that from the Foxfire? What's
Firefox?
Firefox movie. Okay, his screen time is probably a total of like 11 minutes.
But I think of that him's character.
The first thing you think about with that movie is either that or the jet or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then the other movie, what's with the bomb one? On the ship, Juggernaut.
Oh,
remember, he's the one that cut the blue.
Oh, right. The blue.
He's probably on screen 6 minutes in that movie.
But
super other than
color,
you know,
flavor. It's the color of the flavor.
You just never,
because you have the leading guy can't be bombastic. So, you know, usually a leading man is like the Ryan Gosling, Marlon Brando, you know, kind of got to be kind of toned down and kind of inner strength.
Yeah.
Whereas the character actor will outwardly.
And I think it's because in Freddie Jones and there are other actors like this, you get the feeling that you just feel how much they're holding back. You know what I mean? Like there's so much intensity in them.
I think you're
even
right.
when they're talking low and cut the blue wire, you can hear the shake in his voice. Like if nobody else is around, he'd probably be shouting it. But because he feels like he's got it, you know, there's something.
That's true. There's that intensity,
and you can't get away from it. The Elephant Man's the same thing. You're just like, oh my goodness, he just. It's unforgettable. And
who's been in 1,000 films, you know, Claude Rains. Of course, he's a super old timer. 1889 he was born.
In fact, he was he ran I read about him not too long ago, and he was at a drama school in like the 20s where he with his magnificent English speaking voice had some of his students, I'm not giving him all the credit for these people's career, but people like Gielgud and Olivier and these sort of people. And he just had that incredible voice, and that's what got him by, because his looks were unusual.
He would have a very big stage voice for film. You know?
Yeah,
like he was
his first
projecting.
movie is the Invisible Man, right? So
True.
It's like you don't even get to see
Invisible Man was great.
And
then I'm thinking of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Yeah, he
plays the dastardly
senator.
Who's not the most dastardly. He's just a puppet to the big guy, and he tries to kill himself.
That guy is a great character actor. Perfect. Edward Arnold, who plays that guy behind the scenes, who pulls all the strings.
Right.
He plays a very similar character in many places. As a big financier, banker guy.
Well, Herbert,
he's fantastic.
Rains is also in Casablanca.
Right.
So yeah.
Unforgettable.
Wow, that's Casablanca. You think of the characters. I mean, wow.
It never ends in that one.
So you think Bogey and Bergman, right?
Bergman and Bogey, and then everybody else.
About
Peter Lorre,
Sam, the piano player, for God's sake.
Right, he's on the cover of that character book I've got. You know,
right.
Actors,
okay.
He's there it is, Julie Wilson.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
there it is. What is a character actor on the? They're are they the straight men, or they're the flavor, the icing on the cake? You know, I don't know. Maybe the leads are the icing. Maybe the
sometimes
the characters are the spice or the.
Well, like for example, when you mentioned Casablanca, okay, you've got those two big leads, not just big stars, but they're big parts.
But Claude Rains has got the biggest line at the end, right?
That's true.
The start of a beautiful relationship.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And he has, but then again, I mean, that whole, you just read down the list, you have these people that are unforgettable. Peter Lorre.
Oh my God.
Conrad Veidt or Veidt, I don't know how his name
right.
is. Strasse.
Oh yeah.
And the whole bar. You know, all those Sakal is his name, who plays they call him Cuddles Sakal. He plays some character in that. The guy behind the bar, John Quaylen plays an informer. If you saw his voice, or saw his face, you'd know him immediately. He's from Grapes of Wrath and that sort of thing, and a million movies. And so what you were talking about, the spice of they're like that.
Lawrence of Arabia he was in. I mean, wow.
Oh yeah,
just
that's
incredible.
Right, he was in that. Claude Rains is one of my favorites of all time. Yeah,
he is.
I always loved him, and every time I see him, he's just
because you know what he's got. You know he's got in his back pocket.
He's got a lot going on.
He does. Right. Yeah, he's a very confident character. You know, as a policeman, I mean, he breaks down in the Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, but only at the end when it's just like taken to the extreme and Jimmy Stewart passes out. Then he's like, all right, he's right. It's graft and corruption. He had the fake, British accent. Or was he British?
He was British.
Okay, he was
and that's
British.
why it's funny.
Okay, because there's so
many. They kind of slid him in.
Yeah. But that's cool. But there are a lot of actors, of course, that just had that affectation in the 20s and 30s.
Yeah, what they call that mid-Atlantic accent.
Right, the mid-Atlantic.
Sort of not quite one of the other. Nobody actually speaks like that, but
darling, like that.
Right.
Thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on, and it's very it's kind of enjoyable. But
to see. But it's definitely a class thing.
But
God.
When you were
where's my character actor list? Terrence Stamp.
Terrence Stamp. That's funny. You mentioned him on the phone the other day, and I don't think of him as a character actor, but I guess now he is.
Well, he is. I mean, he's done
obviously in the
here's
years.
And he is a great example of a super dashing young man who, through age has just gotten into, evil characters lend themselves to him more often than as he's getting older. Priscilla, Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, cross-dressing in that one. And the Lamy, Superman 2, General Zod. I love that character.
Yeah, that was
great in that
revival. Yeah, he was super intense. And again, he went the silly movie. He was probably happy to get a big part, after a number of years without one, but he totally dedicated to it, and that's what makes it,
and so as a pupa, he was in Billy Budd.
Yes.
So just that stunning blue eyes and just
right.
Super.
And speaking of character, remember, and we were talking earlier about that's probably my first, exposure childhood to Robert Ryan. Remember how
my God,
the epitome of evil.
Lord, Billy Budd.
You can't forget. It's unforgettable. Like you can't even look at the screen. Like you're hiding your eyes as a kid.
He was so
just to see his
awful.
Eyes. You know, those beady eyes, like just evil. Just could not deal with Billy Budd. And so,
oh my God, and even in death, right? Even in death,
even in
he
death,
gets him.
The only time you see him smile is when he's
right,
dying, because
Lord, he knows he's going to be
he's
killed.
sealed Billy Budd's face.
Yeah, something? Right. But that's a character actor, right? Oh my God,
yeah.
the evil.
Yeah, so unforgettable.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute, Richardson. Just a moment here. Hey, what's up? Oh, you're here. Okay, cool. Just finishing up a little podcast thing. Okay. Yeah, like 5 minutes will be out. 5-10 minutes. Okay. Hang out there. Okay. I'm still going. Okay. Here. Yeah. So yeah, the evil, right? Talking about young getting to, as they age, their characters can turn into evil. Striptease, oh my God. But it's funny because, TV happened in the 60s and 70s, and a lot of these the character actors, I gotta say, I think it did them good to have TV as an outlet, because oh yeah, he was great in Alien Nation as William Harcourt.
I forgot that movie.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
It was very good, very good.
But he was Terrence Stamp is kind of obviously, because he's a very striking, even to this day, a very striking looking person that's just always going to get your attention.
Right.
So if you have him as in a character part, again, all he has to do is walk on,
and the power
on screen, right? You're gonna feel it. They can have energy to the screen already.
I mean, we have so much to talk about this. I don't even think we scratched the surface, and we're already coming up on our hour. I kind of want to do another episode of this,
up, and maybe with
and then go to the modern era, and then just kind of discuss more character actors and kind of dig in deeper.
But there is it's a great component of movies.
Yeah,
it's, these small, just like any other component, but it's like how strong it is. And when you get like you said, TV was a lease of life for a lot of people, and TV was like the new studio system. True. You could be guaranteed a job like every week.
Because you got the Love Boat, you got Fantasy Island, and there's going to be a steady work.
There's going to be steady work, exactly. And you see the same person on this show one week, and just like going back in the 30s and 40s. I had this big book.
Yeah.
I'll leave these with you.
Oh.
And this really is only covering
like
25 years.
John's holding up a book called The Versatiles.
And
nice.
So this is essentially the studio system,
which I love.
And it's more than you could ever get to the end of.
Which is interesting because, I mean, like anything, unions and studio system have their great points and terrible points. So it was just so weird.
Just for steady work.
Well, I know. I guess so. Of course, the whole thing is that there was abuse of the studio system. In other words, because we got you under contract, and there was a lot of that stuff going on.
Even for the big stars,
trade them to Warner Brothers for a picture, and
and a lot of careers just like squashed
for $3,000 a week. I know you always see these salaries, and you're like, that was a lot
in 19.
Now it was,
exactly.
God,
it's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah. So they were just making this salary.
Yeah.
And now you crank them in as many pictures, because we gotta get our money's worth out of this stuff.
Right. So you're gonna flog some of those, especially the younger people.
Poor Judy Garland, and Jesus,
classic, but
just ravaged by the system.
Yeah.
But some others did better. But I mean, the great thing about it, obviously, is that you had this freaking polished machine, oiled machine of clapper loaders and dolly gaffs and grips and lighting guys, and you had a facility that was always going to be there, and it's like, let's do it on Studio A, and we'll take this guy and this guy, and so you had this great system, which I guess homogenized some of the production, but it also gave an even quality to a lot of those pictures.
Yeah, it's like the studio bands of like the 60s.
Right.
These guys are such pros
playing
24 hours a day, so they knew how to do anything you wanted, and they could do it in a second. You could just say something.
Right.
And,
studio band. Yeah.
Studio band for whoever, Motown or Stax or whatever it is. These
sure.
guys,
The Wrecking Crew.
4 or 5 guys, right? Whatever. They'll give you anything you want.
That's
It'll
right.
sound great.
Yep.
And so that's what the studio system sort of was.
And the writers.
And right, it doesn't mean that everything's like high quality, or something so memorable or artistic, I should say.
But there
obviously
is a certain
level of quality.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Just
definitely.
like anything else. But the character actors are great because they make their stamp even if you don't know their name.
Yeah.
Here's an example. Another musical example of that would be everyone who's ever heard popular music of the past 50 years can never forget the female voice in Gimme Shelter near the end.
Oh, right.
But who can name her?
Right.
Okay.
Not many. Yeah, exactly.
I had to look her up.
Oh, yeah,
not
totally.
Too long ago, but
also
unforgettable.
and obviously the Great Gig in the Sky, the female voice in Great Gig in the Sky. Whoa, 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 whoa. She does like a whole improvisation, and she was this little white British woman.
There you go.
Incredible voice.
Right.
And they were just doing their job,
Right.
Just like,
that's
it's another gig.
Job.
They didn't even know that the album came out. But,
right. I mean, the story behind the Gimme Shelter, there's a little YouTube video. It's only like 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it's just, she got a phone call in the middle of the night.
Right.
She's in her pajamas. She goes down to the studio in New York. She doesn't really kind of knows who the Rolling Stones are. Says, okay, here's this song. Recording one little female voice. She doesn't think she's pregnant at the time.
Oh, that's right.
And she just belts it out and then does another take and says, I'm going to show him. I'm going to knock him dead on this one.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Blasts her voice. And
so the character actor is doing the same thing. Come on screen. I've got my little 5 minutes. I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
And I'm still going to work within it. I'm not going to sometimes they would, maybe try to steal a scene here or there, but
they're supporting the story, and
they're sometimes
actors.
What you most remember about a movie.
Very true.
6 minutes on screen. So
excellent. I think we should end on that note.
Right.
And thanks for coming out, John. And now a word from our sponsors. McMeat is the new meat byproduct from
what's left over from McDonald's.
From McDonald Worms Farm.
Oh, yeah.
And McMeat.
Very high protein, very lean, from what I understand.
Very lean. In fact, there's no fat at all.
Yes, exactly.
It's all protein, and
I understand.
Half preservatives, plus it's taken right from the earth, grown right from the McMeat plant. It's the only plant-based meat that is available today, and so it's natural, it's organic, very few chemicals. Some they had to do some chemical engineering there to get meat to grow out of a plant, but it's good, sizzles right up. And McMeat sandwich or McMeat hot dogs, if you want it extruded into a tubular meat product. They can grow it in a tube too, so you don't have to. They can grow it into square shape, cube, just as hot dog shape, whatever you want. McMeat, get it now, grill it. Thanks for listening to Apocalypse Now, episode 14, Character Actors, part 1. We're going at this from all different sides, so we will see you next week. Bye, and say goodbye, John.
Bye.
All right, good stuff. Stay all. Let me go on to the thing here. Facebook.